Yeah, a lot of hate against Indians. You know, I was gonna show you this Indian. I was gonna show you this. Let me show you this guy. So you guys seen this? Look, this guy's a workie. They're just trying to program you. Okay, let me show you this other YouTuber. What's his name? Oh, critical. Because I started watching MMA YouTubers, right? And this guy, I used to watch this guy sometimes. Whatever, he's got some interesting opinions. Then, as soon as that Indian hate with Elon went off, you know the thing with the Indian, with the look at this guy's symbol, dude. Look at this guy's symbol, bro. So this guy, I used to watch this guy. And then as soon as the thing happened with Elon and the Indians, right? The and then and then there was all this anti-Indian stuff online because of Elon and the what do you call that thing? The WB program or whatever. So then this guy started making all these videos against Indians, specifically against Indians. And I was just watching this guy like a YouTuber guy. I didn't even see his logo. I didn't even know about it. Now I know what it is. Now I know he's obviously the H1B. Thank you. So look at this. Look at this. The Jeepocalypse. The Jeepocalypse. He was just made one video after another against Indian people. As soon as that H1B thing happened with Elon, he started going off on it. But this guy is clearly a shill because you can see, obviously, you can see his thing, right? Then when I start commenting on his videos, right? This guy, right? I start commenting on the videos, he would leave it. And then I said, hey, you're obviously a shill because then I noticed his logo. So I was like, oh, you're obviously a shill. Because first I was just commenting like, hey, all your opinions are so low IQ, you don't understand anything. What are you doing? Then he would just leave those. But then as soon as I said that, I saw his logo and I was like, oh, you're a shill. And then he erased my comment. Then I never bothered with him for a while. Then the other day I saw one of his streams. He was on a stream. So I go on his stream and he's talking bad about Indians again. So I just go, hey, by the way, you're talking about how Indians are taking over Ireland, but Indians are only 2% of Ireland's population. What are you talking about? He starts talking to me like interacting with me. People in the live are interacting with me. Then I said that he's a shill, and he immediately censored me. You know? So this guy's an uber shill, but like he was talking about this Bryce Mitchell interview too.
All right, everyone, it's your boy Critical
Hey, look,
MMA.
Look. A lot of things this person says, but by the way, look at the purple background. See this? That's what they do, man. So this guy's an agent, but I just want to tell you, like, a lot of the racism stuff you see online is like, they do this on purpose. They set it up, you know. But Indians are super annoying. I'm not saying they aren't, but especially when they come and try to push their Hindu stuff in Canada and stuff. I hate it, right? But I'm just saying the stuff this guy says is weird. But now he's going to talk about, okay, so he's going to talk about the Bryce Mitchell interview with MMA Guru.
Really busy recently, but I had to make this video. I saw Bryce Mitchell on the MMA Guru. I didn't get to watch all the interview yet, but we're going to be doing a breakdown of some of the fighter points over the next week or so in the lead up to the Bryce Mitchell-Jean Silva fight. I watched about 2 minutes of that video. I had to pause it and make a video just to correct the record, okay? Because one of the first things Bryce said in the Guru interview is communism always follows from atheism. And I don't know if he's just being safe because Ari Emanuel is his big boss and he needs to be careful what he says.
So the reason why I think this guy's a shill is because he'll talk about how the event that shall not be denied. He'll talk about that and he'll say that it was denied, right? Or he'll deny it. But at the same time, he'll literally tell people to just vote in their election or whatever. Like I'm sorry, if you understand that event is not real, you should kind of get into more conspiracy stuff. You should kind of figure out that elections are fake. You know, and he's trying to say he has a genius level IQ, this guy, right? So I'm just like, dude, if you have a genius level IQ, and you know what he does too? he'll point out the direct things that you're supposed to, that all the like shill stuff, like he'll like explain the economy using a bunch of posts from 4chan, you know? Yeah, here's a video like that where he just literally explains, he reads them a bunch of 4chan posts to explain to the people of his audience like the fiat currency system. You know what I'm trying to say? Which is, again, it's just like to program people to become these kind of internet weirdos, like that are just like right wing, you know. Anyway, you know who he did too. Anyway, let's see what he says.
Gonna have to correct Bryce Mitchell here on that point, because the source of communism is not actually atheism. And I think if you look into it, you might find a lot of activity from people who on this channel we call Blue Jays, and sometimes often euphemistically referred to as hand rubbers. So in this video, I'm going to give you all a few details. And
yes, that's another thing. That's another thing. So Bryce Mitchell is saying, oh, atheism leads to communism. This guy's going to say, no, it's Judaism, right? But meanwhile, we know it's Satanism. And even he touches on the fact that Karl Marx was a Satanist, but he doesn't get into it. He barely scratches the surface of that, right? But Karl Marx used to write satanic poetry in college, like this historical evidence that Karl Marx was into Satanism and stuff, you know? But this guy's barely going to touch on it anyway. So that's what they do. So you have the people that the Bryce Mitchell is one type of gatekeeper. Like, okay, if people start realizing that the earth is flat and Hitler wasn't that bad, then they'll listen to Bryce. And some people will realize that Bryce doesn't get it. He thinks atheism causes communism. So they'll listen to this guy. And this guy will catch them, you know? Anyway. Hey, what's up, Crafty Val? How are you? God bless you.
So much more to get into. This is the abridged version, all right? So if you're eager to hear more on the topic, let me know. And once my preparation for travel and subsequent travel is done, we're going to get into it a lot more.
Oh, the other thing, you know, the other thing this guy does? He'll complain about how like they're letting all these third worlders into Ireland, and Ireland's not going to be Irish anymore, and these third worlders are going to take over. And once again, I don't support all this third world immigration to the first world. I don't, right? However, he's claiming that like they're going to take over Ireland. It's just panic nonsense, right? Secondly, he's literally saying to his people that he's going to leave and go to South America and live there. And he's telling people like to do it like that's what people should do. As if like if you love your country and you think it's getting taken over by third worlders, why would you leave? Wouldn't you want to stay and help? Wouldn't you want to change things, you know? So it's just complete nonsense. So he's telling people to do the thing that will lead to the fall of Ireland, that will lead to the fall of Europe and stuff, you know? He's literally programming them with the wrong thing to do if you wanted to save your country, you know? So that's why this guy is clearly a shill, this purple wall and stuff.
Here on Critical IMMA. So, first of all,
hope you get some good homework done, Crafty Val.
The origin point that I wanted to get into, okay? You all know Karl Marx is the originator or the main originator of the ideas of communism, Marxism, and Marxian socialism more generally. Socialism itself is an ideology predates Marx and is more general, and that's why later we had National Socialism under the Austrian painter who Brass wanted to go fishing with, which is completely different to Marxian socialism, Marxism generally, and communism specifically. But the thing is, Zionism has a very, very close connection to the origin of communism. The man who was responsible for the creation of Zionism before Zionism wasn't a thing, Theodor Herzl, is the claimed father of Zionism. But before him, Moses Hess, one of the originators of the ideology of communism, of Marxian socialism, one of the three founders of the ideology of communism, who later his path diverged from that of Karl Marx and Engels. He went on to lay the foundations for what would later become Zionism. So before Theodore Herzl, there was Moses Hess, and Moses Hess's influence on Theodore Herzl is undeniable. I believe it was Moses Hess who first came up with the idea of having a homeland for the Blue Jay-ish people in Palestine. That's one of the foundational ideas of Zionism. And whereas Marx focused communism on class struggle, Moses Hess was much more in line with the ideology of the Austrian painter and the National Socialists who came much later in thinking that race, ethnicity, and nationality was primary. So literally, the origins of communism and the origins of Zionism are almost one and the same.
So, this whole idea, like, I get, like, I do kind of, I'm sympathetic to the idea that race is real and that we shouldn't just act like there's no differences between the races and stuff, right? When people start getting into this thing of race is nationality and nationhood and all that stuff, right? You are kind of ignoring the Bible. The Bible is saying that God has created all men of one blood, right? And that we're all supposed to live in peace. But this guy's trying to say, no, don't worry about that. Get into politics and you gotta worry about all that. Like, you shouldn't, like, I think for us the solution is to trust in God and not worry about this stuff, right? For these people, or at least that's what he's trying to get his viewers to think, right? It's like, no, you have to worry about this. You have to worry about your nation becoming overrun by third worlders. At the same time, this guy's literally telling people that he's planning to leave Ireland, and he's telling them to go and leave Ireland, move to South America. That's what he's saying, because he thinks Ireland's no good anymore. Like, if you really loved your country, right, wouldn't you want to stay there and fix it? Wouldn't you want to do that? So that's why I think, anyway, people are wicked, man. But anyway, the point is, with God, we don't have to worry about these things. With God, we just worry about what does God want. We trust in him, and he'll take care of all this other stuff.
Moses Hess had connections to the Rothschild family through Karl Mayer.
Yeah, totally. Me too. And I would hate the Jews and all this stuff. If I was without Christianity, I would be I'd be really bad, man. I'd be really bad because I would have gone mental. Yeah.
Rothschild. Karl Marx was directly related to, well, maybe not directly, he was third cousin to Nathan Mayer de Rothschild, who funded Karl Marx throughout his life and his efforts as far as working on developing and perpetuating the ideology of communism. So I see the Rothschild family having a hand in the spread of both communism and Zionism. But specifically, communism was the ideology for the
by the way, the other thing is, like, so what they're going to do is, what he's telling you is kind of historically accurate in terms of the sort of mainstream understanding of history, right? So that's what he's going to explain to the people. And what he's saying is, you can look it up, it's basically true. But what they're not telling you is the fact that it's all a satanic plot. Zionism, communism, the notion that, the whole idea, all these things are just, and even he's going to talk about Balfour in a minute, and Rothschild and Balfour, how they're linked up. He's not going to talk about how Balfour was part of that stupid dispensationalism thing and all that stuff, which is clearly, to me, shows that they're satanic too. Anyway.
For all non-Blue Jay nations, and Zionism is essentially ethno-nationalism for Blue Jays, and it later led to the founding of the nation-state of Israel. And one of the main players responsible for the founding of Israel was Walter Rothschild. He was the main force behind the Balfour Declaration, which laid the foundations for the creation of the nation-state of Israel. So we have, and like recently, I'm not happy at all with Keith Woods. I used to like Keith Woods a lot more, and recently I see him like counter signaling.
By the way, I hope if this guy ever watches this video, because I'm gonna post this video and put his stupid name in it and all this stuff, right? I just want to say, buddy, that this has nothing to do with the fact that you hate on Indians, and I could go through your stupid Indian videos and show how dumb you are on those too, how low IQ your takes are. Okay, so don't think that I'm doing this because you're hating on Indians. I'm simply doing this because you came up in our other conversation about Bryce Mitchell and MMA Guru, and I thought I'd show my viewers you, because you're such a joke. So don't get in your head that I'm Anyway, whatever. Who cares? He's a shit.
Nationalism a lot. I see him constantly trying to undermine National Socialism with like really weak arguments. So anyone out there thinks Keith Woods will be willing to debate me, let him know I'd debate Keith Woods, and I have a lot of things to point out as far as his disingenuousness recently trying to undermine people who are leaning toward National Socialism, and I see him like trying to undermine different forms of nationalism, but more.
Yeah. Like this guy's trying to get people to believe and follow National Socialism. That's what we should do. That's what Ireland needs. Ireland needs to become National Socialists. That'll fix Ireland. You absolute idiots.
Or kind of like hardline nationalism recently, disingenuously, and also trying to undermine Europa, the Last Battle. And I read through some of his critiques of Europa, the Last Battle, and there was one in particular that's perfectly in line with the content of this video that I take issue with, okay? Keith Woods claimed that Karl Marx was born Karl Marx, his name was always Karl Marx, and that he never had any other more Blue Jay name. So Karl Marx comes from a lineage of rabbis that goes back hundreds of years, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the related details.
No, because Woods is probably right about that. I think Marx's father changed his name to Marx. I'm pretty sure that's why Keith Woods said that. But Woods is being deceptive too by not explaining that fact that Karl Marx's father changed his name and that they weren't named that. They had some Jewish name, you know what I mean? That's what this guy's going to talk about here. But I'm pretty sure Karl Marx was born Karl Marx. I don't think he was born by some other name, but his father changed their name to Marx, you know?
And we're going to check his source. But Keith Woods based that claim on literally nothing. He just pulled that claim out of his ass. He didn't provide.
No, I'm pretty sure they have because when Marx was born, right, he was baptized. Because although his father was born Jewish, his father converted to Christianity for job opportunities and stuff like that, and they changed their name. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm not 100%, but anyway, whatever. Let's see.
Any argument to substantiate that claim? He didn't provide one source to substantiate that claim, but I had already read from a much better source, someone who I take much more seriously as an intellectual than Keith Woods, the absolute midwit, which he's proving himself a lot more recently. And frankly, Keith Woods is a subversive. Like recently, a lot of his writing amounts to him being a subversive little K bicycle, trying to undermine nationalism and undermine, National Socialism specifically, historically, or the viability of anybody aligning themselves with that ideology in the present day. So recently, Keith Woods,
why would anybody want to align themselves with National Socialism? I guess he's like pretending to be like a normal person who has political opinions. I guess that's what he's trying to do. And so from his opinion is that National Socialism is a good idea, I guess. But anyway, I'm just telling you, these people, this is how they push certain ideologies online and in YouTube and stuff. Yeah.
L's all over the place. Boo, Keith Woods, and he's wrong a lot of the time. And I don't think he's being genuine. He's either misinformed or he's just being a manipulative, subversive little rodent. So anyway, the source who I got the information from initially, that Karl Marx was not born Karl Marx, that he was born, the given name he got when he was born was Moses Mordecai Levi Marx, okay? And that claim was made by Yuri Lina, someone who was born in Estonia. I believe they were under Soviet control at the time that he was born, and he was later expelled from his home and native land of Estonia by the Soviets. He was investigated by the KGB. He was writing anti-Soviet material since the 1960s, since he was a kid, since he was in his teens. And he later, I believe it was in 1979, he got expelled from Estonia and had to flee to Finland. So if you look into the background of Yuri Lina, this dude is legit, way more legit than Keith Woods. And if you read his book, Under the Sign of the Scorpion, it is about the history of communism. The man lived under communism. The man was about, around 50 years old by the time this book was released. So he had an entire lifetime of studying communism, an ideology which he lived and suffered under. So anyway, Under the Sign of the Scorpion, one of the best books I've ever read on the history of communism, better than anything Keith Woods has written by a country mile, and very well sourced too. So we're going to take a look at an extract from Under the Sign of the Scorpion by Yuri Lina, just to prove Keith Woods wrong, and also to educate Bryce Mitchell on the origins of communism. No, it's not. Its origin is not in atheism, dude. And I don't know if you're just being safe saying that, but either way, you're wrong. So let's look at a little bit about Karl Marx here, and we're just going to see. And later in the video as well, the interview, the few minutes that I watched with Guru, and he also said that communism is interwoven with Satanism, and I agree with that claim wholeheartedly. But first of all, anyway, let's take a look at an extract from Under the Sign of the Scorpion by Yuri Lina, who I take much more seriously as an.
So this is what they do. So look, now he's going to introduce you to some stupid book, some dumb book that this guy says, oh, it's by intellectual. This guy's more intellectual than Keith Woods. Keith Woods is a rodent. Listen to this guy. Read this book. You know, this book is also dumb. You know what he was saying in this other video? He was talking about how that that guy David Irving. Have you ever heard of David Irving? He's a historian. He's a British historian who denied the event that shall not be denied, and then he got like kind of blacklisted or whatever. Poor Christ, I was one of those people who blame Jews for everything. Thank you, Jews. The Jews are just being manipulated by the devil too, and this guy's being manipulated by the devil too. But he's like literally a shill. He's like literally with a purple background with a one eye in his logo, and he thinks we're stupid. And he tries to show this is what I'm saying when I tell you about the way they promote certain ideas. He's trying to get people to read this dumb book, this stupid book. Okay, or this other thing he was saying about. He was saying like the stupid things this guy tries to get people to get into. Oh, did I tell you how he was using 4chan? He's trying to explain the world economy from 4chan posts. He's trying to act like he's some genius level IQ. That's what this guy's trying to do. He's telling his audience to read David Irving's dumb book. Oh, I read David Irving's book, so I know the Holocaust is fake. Like, shut. Like, what? Are you retarded? Anyway, so this guy's clearly a shill. Clearly, okay. I don't care if he's got a small channel. It's obviously what they're doing, and even the number of subscribers these people have, it's probably fake too.
Is an intellectual, then midwit subversive Keith Woods, who's trying to undermine nationalism recently way too much and disingenuously.
That's true. One Eye and the Octagon, because the Octagon is also one of their things too. The Octagon is like represents the what do you call it? The Tesseract, you know, the four-dimensional cube, the four-dimensional
midwit subversive Keith Woods, who's trying to undermine nationalism recently way too much and disingenuously. And recently, I just don't like that guy because of the BS he's coming out with like constantly.
See, he just did it. He did that six. He did that six thing.
Then midwit subversive Keith Woods, who's trying to undermine nationalism recently way too much and disingenuously. And recently, I just
maybe he didn't, but he does that sometimes.
Just don't like that guy because of the BS he's coming
out
with.
He did it
much and disingenuously. And recently, I just don't like that guy because of the BS.
Look, see that? There, let me just slow this down. I gotta show you this. Wow. Oh, I don't like Keith Woods. This is what they do. They'll when they say the lie, then they'll push the thing. See?
Yeah, I just don't like that guy because of the.
But he's gonna like. Watch what happens here. There's like a cut. There's like some kind of cut here. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe no cut. But anyway, he did this symbol when he said, "I don't like that guy. I don't like Keith Woods." That's when he did the hand sign, right? It's because Keith Woods is obviously a shill as well. So in order to preserve the idea that they're not like in beef, they do stuff like that, you know. Anyway.
Yes, he's coming out with like constantly. So anyway, let us see where we are. Oh no, this is the wrong source. That's something we're going to get into in a little while, actually. So first of all, pardon me. And I need to like switch my layers. Pardon me. So, okay, here we are.
See, look. Let me tell you something. All right. If you want to research history, you want to find out about history, you don't read these books. These books are stupid. Or you can look, you can check it out. I'm not saying don't check it out. Check it out. But don't like this guy's trying to recommend it like it's some like it's like, oh, this is where you get the real facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's probably some good information in here, but a lot of it is going to be misinformation too. But this guy's just recommending it. Like, go read it. Read this, guys. But these people, like, this guy claims that he has a genius level IQ. Nobody with that level of IQ would be so dumb as to think that this stupid book is like a legit way to understand the world. You know? I'm not saying nothing in this book is true. I'm not saying it's all completely dumb, but probably it is, or a lot of it. Like this is dumb, man. Karl Marx, Evil's Idol, and you see how the way it's like. See how the way it's printed? It's because it's like one of these like off like the presses. Like it's like one of these like self-published stupid books you find online and stuff. You know. Anyway,
video capture, la la la. So on Karl Marx, right? And this is from Under the Sign of the Scorpion by Yuri Lina, someone of far greater intellectual worth than Keith Woods is likely to ever be. So, all right, this section is called Karl Marx, Evil's Idol. So on the 5th of May, 1818, in the German town of Trier, a baby boy was born and given the name Moses Mordecai Levi Marx, who would later be called Karl Marx. In his early youth, he became known as a Christian.
So like, look, that's what he's trying to say, right? He's trying to say that because this book said this, and he for some reason, this idiot thinks that this person who wrote this dumb book is smarter than Keith Woods or whatever he was saying, right? He's trying to tell you that you should just believe that. Just believe that that's what Marx's name was when he was born. You know? That's what his name was, guys, because this stupid book said so. Is that what his name was? Why would I believe this? This is no reference here. There's no kind of like proof of anything. No kind of like, oh, here's a photograph of his birth certificate. Here's the I saw, you know what? Back in the day, man, I can remember I saw this thing. It was like the baptism certificate from this Lutheran church in Trier. I think it was in Trier. I don't even know actually. But anyway, I swear I've seen Karl Marx's baptism certificate. It doesn't say this. But this is what these people do. You know how dumb this is to just believe that? You just believe that this thing says this. Who cares? Like, why would that make me believe that? Wouldn't you have to have some other evidence? You know? Anyway.
His father actually converted to Christianity solely because, I believe it was, in Germany at the time, Blue Jays were not allowed to practice law. So he had to convert to Christianity so he could practice law. He later became a Supreme Justice of the High Court in Germany. So very powerful, and we'll see in a subsequent...
Okay. So now this guy's saying that he was only baptized in 1824 at 6 years of age. You know what? I remember seeing this in a book, man. And I gotta find this thing, you know, because I remember seeing like a copy of his baptismal certificate or something like that. Maybe it was this book. Maybe it was this Richard Loeffler. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find this out. But anyway, it's dumb to just believe this dumb book just because this thing said so.
Article, we're going to take a look at the lineage of very powerful, very wealthy rabbis that Marx's father came from, and Marx followed on the lineage from. And Marx's brother as well became, a high-ranking rabbi. His grandfather, before his father, was a very high-ranking rabbi as well. And there's a lineage of hundreds of years of rabbinical tradition in the Levi lineage, which later became the Marx lineage, solely due to his father needing to become a crypto Blue Jay so he could practice law in Germany at the time and gain the level of high status that he did subsequently. So, was given the name Moses Mordecai Levi. In his early youth, he became known as a Christian. His father, Herschel Levi Marx, Justice of the Supreme Court, had opportunistically converted to Christianity in 1816. You can look into this in detail as well. There's a lot of details surrounding the background of Marx, his family, and his lineage. So Keith Woods claiming, that the claims from Yuri Lina's book were untrue and based on nothing while he's trying to undermine Europe at the last battle. Based on nothing, midwit. How about you base your arguments on something of substance, you little rodent? Had opportunistically converted to Christianity. Yes, Herschel's father was a famous chief rabbi in Cologne. His father-in-law was also a rabbi. So like his entire family, both sides, lineage of very powerful rabbis. The historian Richard Loeffler, oh look, providing a source, unlike Keith Woods, proved in 1975 that Karl Marx was not born into a Christian family, as they had secretly kept their Blue Jay faith. This is why he was given a Mosaic name just after his birth. Moses Mordecai Levi was only baptized in 1824 at 6 years of age, and then given the Christian name Karl Heinrich. Okay, so look, someone's given sources, someone's given details, unlike Keith Woods apparently is able to when he's trying to undermine Europa the last battle.
Wait, what sources? What are you talking about? There's no sources here. This guy, I mean, you're reading this book, which is not, this guy's not some historian. This is just some weird internet book. What are you talking about? What do you mean you're giving us sources? What is this guy doing, man? Who is this guy? I'm going to find out about this guy too. Under the Sign of the Scorpion. What a joke. What a complete joke.
Claims based on nothing. Young Marx went to a Jesuit school, which had been restructured as a secular high school. At the same time, he went to a Talmudic school, where he learned that the Blue Jays must rule the world, as it says in the Talmud. Bernard Lazare Lizana, 1865 to 1903, a well-known functionary and publicist within Blue Jayism, confirmed that Marx had been affected by Talmudism. And there's a lot here that we can read in subsequent videos. I'm just not going to get into it today because I just don't have a lot of time and I need to prepare for travel and I need to travel soon. So hold on, there were a couple of things. Oh, I think I need to skip it now. Hold on. There is just like evidence here that Marx literally claimed himself that he had made deals with the devil, or like his fascination with Satan. And he had, this is from one of his poems here. That art God neither wants nor wists, it leaps to the brain from hell's black mists. Till hearts bewitched, till senses real, with Satan I have struck my deal. And there's more analysis of his poetry as well, which shows like real strange fascinations with Satan, with Luciferianism, with the worship of the devil, that show a clear.
Yeah, see how he's touching on this stuff, right? Because I think this book goes into that stuff, which is like there's some historical evidence that Marx wrote some poetry about Satanism and like other pretty dark stuff when he was in college. And so this guy is probably touching on this stuff in this dumb book, and then this guy's talking about it. But that's the reality of communism and also Zionism, you know, and also probably dispensationalism. But this guy he's just gonna act like, oh, that's not what you need to focus on. Focus on the fact that he's a Jew and Jews, the Jews are trying to get you and all this stuff, you know.
There's more analysis of his poetry as well, which shows like real strange fascinations with Satan, with Luciferianism, with the worship of the devil, that show a clear, concise contempt for humanity. So we'll get into this if you want to. Let me know in the comment section if you want to get into this in greater detail. I'm going to be doing a lot related to this sort of thing and the lead up to Bryce Mitchell's fight with John Silva, because it's kind of topically relevant. And I just wanted to correct Bryce as far as saying that the origin point of communism is always atheism. No, it isn't, dude. But on the point of you saying that it's connected to Luciferianism, Satanism, well, who are the synagogue of Satan? Okay, I wanted to substantiate that. And there's way more that I'm.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the issue, right? Like, was it because did he write some poems in university because he was being an edgy nerd, or was it because he actually did believe in Satanism, you know? But I think it's possible he was an edgelord in college and then he got recruited into actual Satanism. That's also possible too, you know? Because he didn't continue to write about that stuff after, but he wrote about a very satanic ideology, which is communism, you know? But not to say that capitalism in its forms isn't satanic in its own way as well, you know?
That I'm skipping here because I'm just short on time today. But I wanted to flame Keith Woods. I wanted to correct Bryce Mitchell. Literally within the first 2 minutes of Bryce's Guru interview, I had to stop it and I was like, whoa. We need some corrections here, right, everybody? And I need to get on this quick while it's still relevant. But we can dig a little deeper later, okay? Let me know if you're interested in that. And there's just
yeah, I mean, his is like almost guaranteed to be a shill. Anyway, so forget about this part. He talks about some interesting stuff here, which is gets into the this is the family tree of Marx, all right? So this is kind of interesting stuff. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. I mean, I was aware of this, but it's interesting that he has a little diagram here, which is kind of cool. So hang on. So okay. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let me try to make this bigger. So Baron Cohen of Amsterdam, he was like this big time Jewish money man, okay? And then he was married to somebody we don't know. All right, and then this family's came down. Oh, I gotta move forward in this thing. So then this is Nathan Meyer Rothschild. He married this person. This person is one of Karl Marx's cousins. Nathan Meyer Rothschild was one of the heads of that family. Okay. And then anyway, maybe I should just make it smaller. So this is Marx. So Marx's mother was cousins with this person who married Mayor Rothschild. So they're like distantly related, you know? And they probably did know each other and stuff, you know? All right, good night, brother. I'm gonna go to bed too, man. You guys, I'm sorry, it's getting late. I didn't realize how late it is. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about Karl Marx is related to the Rothschilds. Okay, it's kind of distant, but it's definitely worth noting. All right.
Okay, 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 okay. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Studying the Bible with Mike and Pat. These other YouTubers are just so trash. Hit the thumbs up if you want to support. Go follow Mike as he follows the Lord. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 You better watch out, Mike's calling out the shills. If you're not free grace, you need to sit down and chill. We're not hyper grace, you know we keep it real. Eternally secure, you know that we're sealed. We don't back low, we're not workspace heretics. Mike's not in it for the money, trying to get a lick. They out here selling their souls for a couple clicks. Becoming Freemasons so they can't just get rich. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Shout out to Mike and Pat. Check out his channel, Toronto Bible Study. Subscribe and like.